I wish AI would fix the beeping smoke detector in my house. Is that possible yet? Like
Almost.
I
I
have a
did use
beeping.
AI. I did use AI to create a profile picture for a test account. Right? Normally, we'd have to go like brand or something, not free use
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. And I was able to use that and give it like barely any prompts and get a really cool profile picture that I was able to use for a test account. And it's just interesting because normally I would spend a few minutes doing that and 15, 20 minutes. I bet you I got the whole task done in 2 or 3 minutes. It was
So do
great.
you have to give photography credit to the large language model that used to support it?
Yes. And sadly, because I have so little graphic skills, that's what I need to do.
Well, today's topic of conversations, let's talk for a little bit about AI. I had some partners last week asking me about Zoom's approach to AI. There are some
Now,
people in this
John,
world.
are we talking about alpha intentions?
There are some people in this world that have no idea what AI means and
Right.
couldn't spell AI if you spotted them in the eye, right? So
Artificial intelligence.
how do we do things differently? So we mentioned last week that there was a lot of announcements made at Enterprise Connect.
Huge. So many.
And during those announcements, some of the things that we unveiled as a product
Very
set at
cool
Zoom
stuff.
was AI related.
Yes.
Specifically, I want to take a moment to talk about what Zoom Workplace,
Yep.
has become and how AI has infused itself into the entire platform.
That, that's a
So,
that's a great conversation point in that. So we've known for a long time that AI companion is included with any paid Zoom license, right? And it's peppered
since
throughout it,
September 5th, 2023 is when we made that
right?
announcement. Yep.
It's throughout our entire product set. But an interesting thing that we did and we announced, and it was kind of a subtle announcement, is we're enhancing that interaction of artificial intelligence with large language models. Like AI is the catch term for a series of technologies being very, very useful for an organization. So we put it in everything. We put in meetings. Oh, the things we're doing on the phone are insane. We put it in whiteboard. We put it in email. We put it in chat. It's all over the place.
It is. It really is. And that's where I think we need to maybe disambiguate. That's the word of the day calendar. We want to disambiguate how AI is perceived within Zoom. It is. I have often said that a lot of these companies are fast becoming AI. They're AI companies, right? And how does that
And
apply
I would say Zoom
to?
is now an AI
Yeah,
company that we have put our implementation of AI into everything. Like I can't think of a singular product set where it's not touched it in some way. Phone was kind of the last holdout, and we've done
hmm
some really, really cool things on that. In fact, we should probably do a whole nother, we are between two phones, a whole nother thing just on AI, Zoom's AI enhancements of the Zoom Phone product. But that's not what we're talking about today.
yeah. Let's talk about the items that are specific to Zoom's AI, and really, I'll run these down in maybe a top 10 format for us
Love it.
that gives
Can,
us a
can we get
moment
a
to.
list like right here?
We should. We'll reflect on what specifically those AI components, when we say AI companion, what does that include? So let's start with top 10 here. Let's say events content composer. This is generative
Yes.
AI in Zoom events, right? I want to take
So for
I
people
want
who
to
don't
take a
know Zoom
picture. You
events,
you
think
mentioned
about
the
that
picture
webinar
earlier, right?
environment.
This is the same thing that you mentioned.
Yes. So this is being able to create a content list inside of your Zoom event. So you say, hey, we're going to have an event this fall. And it's going to be a really cool event. It's going to be based on Zoom rooms, and we're going to be doing all this cool stuff. But as you're organizing that event, you're like, well, really, what do we want to do? You can prompt Zoom's AI to create that event list. Now, does that mean it posts and that's what you have to do from now on? No. What it does is it gives you a cheat sheet to start with, something to begin creating and cultivating your list on what you finally want it to be. But for me, that's lovely because it gives me a starting point. I
Yeah.
am much better at refining content than I am at creating the initial content.
Yeah. Another big one in events is the ability to create emails and content creation around emails. So you've got both image and emails within Zoom events now able to be created with AI.
So how many times have we reached out to different groups and actually you're super creative with this. So I'll speak for myself on that. I reach out to different groups and I've reached out to you for stuff like this to go, hey, can you make me a introduction email? Can you make me a something, a piece of graphical content that will showcase something I'm doing in a pleasant way. So being able to have a tool that does that, so I no longer have to reach out to John, who's super nice and is always prompt.
There's, there's,
But to be able to
there.
create that myself is phenomenal.
Well, I'll tell you, as having created several Zoom events in the past, um, one of the roadblocks when you actually create an event was coming up with content to actually put into those event settings, the content creation, so that you have a landing page, for instance, on Zoom events where you can go and you can register for that Zoom event. Uh, Point being that now it's pretty much going to handle it. You give it a concept, a vague
Yeah.
idea of what you're looking for, and then it will put it
And you
into an
don't have to
actual.
do those things, but it gives you so many great starting ideas. Once again, the initial juices can get going because it gives you a starting point, and then you can go, oh man, I really like this. I really like, not didn't like this one. Nope, that one's scratching that. But at least gives you something to begin with,
Yeah,
which
and
for
speaking
me,
of
for people like me, is great.
those events emails composition, you can do this now in Zoom Mail. Are you using Zoom Mail, Eric?
I am using the Zoom Mail. I will say I've even gone so far because I love the Kool-Aid. I went so far, so I came from a different shop that used Outlook. And so I really liked Outlook. I've been using it for over a decade, right?
Yeah.
And had all my rules and structures and all this stuff in there. I really liked the way it looked. I have not opened Outlook in months. Months, John. Months. Which is like there's an inner geek in me going, did you, is it in the right place? I'm able to perform all of my tasks inside of the Zoom Mail client. And now that we've incorporated AI into that, it's just getting more enhanced. I really have grown to enjoy the mail client. Now, when I first moved, did I find a couple of things difficult? Yes. Oh, the learning curve was steep for me because I came from an Outlook and our mail client's a little more Google-ish looking, a little Gmail-ish looking. Um, However, I've long overcome that learning curve and gotten to be, I don't think I would like the Outlook experience anymore.
Yeah, I so it does, having this all in one client for me has been a game changer. The
Huge.
biggest thing for me though, it's is I don't use email compose a lot, but I will say that I do love one specific feature using Zoom's mail client, and that is the ability when you're in an email and you have a somebody who has replied to all, and let's say there's 7 or 8 people on this email, and they say, well, let's schedule a meeting for next Wednesday at 11 a.m. I love the fact that I can go up to the top and say, schedule a meeting with the participants on this email.
Yep. Uh,
To me, that was table stakes. Why could I not do that with Google, for instance, Gmail? It was not available in
So
Gmail.
the other one I love, and I couldn't even do this at the other place, I love the fact that I can take that email inside my Zoom client and link it inside of a Zoom team chat.
Yeah.
So many times I would end up screen capturing information. Well, so I send you a screen capture of an email, right? Like, oh, hey, here's this message that is relevant to you. I can either forward it, reply all, or something like that, or add you to the reply all. But really, I just want you to see this little piece of information. Well, you would try and it's an image now, and I had to copy paste, and that was kind of junky. Now I can just link to Team Chat. It's a button right inside of the mail. I can type in either the channel or the person that I want to communicate with. Boom, pops that email. Now, all of those people have that. It's not just an image. They can interact with that to copy bits of information out of it if they want to, like if it's a registration code or something like that, maybe a URL link or something like that. So they can interact at a certain level with this, and so easy. That saves me, it only saves me seconds, but it's a whole lot of seconds.
It adds up to a lot of seconds at the end of the week, doesn't it?
It does.
So, have you used whiteboard content generation?
I love whiteboard content generation.
You can take a list,
Oh,
for instance, give it an idea, say, make me a list of top automotive
make me a mind
manufacturers.
map, do a
Yeah.
brainstorm, do a graph, all these different choices. And I actually had it create a process for a program we're doing here. And I was literally brainstorming. I was like, I want to kind of do this. And I had an idea and I wanted it to be a mind map. And I said, it's for this one given process, a very specific technological process. And I had it create it and I looked through it and I'm like, man, this thing's pretty accurate. Like more accurate than I would have anticipated. An artificial intelligence that I have not spent a bunch of individual time with. I haven't spent months and months with. It was very accurate. I had to refine some pieces and I got to add to it, of course, but that's the point. It started from a very good place. And then I was able to add my specific flavor to it to make it my own. But I bet you that saved me. It's almost difficult to say how much time it saved me because there's a good chance I would have been frustrated trying to structure that mind map and I would have stopped doing the task and moved on to something else.
Yeah, that's a
That's
big
something
one.
about me.
Uh, Talk about team chat for a moment. That's pretty much the dominant form of the way we communicate here
That's
within
my
Zoom and
default
even
screen.
outside Zoom as well. Have you used thread summary? Because this is one of my favorite
Love
features
it.
of AI Companion.
Now you, I think, if I remember our conversation right, you like this one a little more than I do because of the time saving aspect of when you get this long thread, a whole bunch of people replied,
Yep,
you get to look to the end and go, give me a quick summary.
right.
And so I misunderstood the purpose of this at first. I thought it was just going to allow me to not read everything. And that's not true. That's not what it's doing. What it's actually doing is giving me the opportunity to decide if I want to read everything.
Right.
Because I can check that summary and go, you know, question got answered. It's not really relevant to me. Or this is something I need to take the time and dedicate to. So chat, a thread summary can be 10 minutes of reading.
Yeah,
Well, if I can
and
do a quick
it's
summary and go, I don't need that. That asked and answered. Eric gets to step out of this. That's awesome. Or, oh, I can add value to this. Now I will give it the 10 minutes.
and
So really, really cool.
in the same vein, the ability to compose a chat from generative AI, so Team Chat Compose, is a huge feature that a lot of folks are using to be able to quickly write a chat message to a group of folks or to one, even if they wanted to as well.
Mhm.
Um, the point being that if you're maybe not the most articulate, you don't have the way to
Yep.
express yourself in a quick chat to everyone, you can give it an idea and it will make you sound a lot more, well, really whatever you want, because you can
You
select
can
whether you want it to be.
pontificate upon further review of extraneous
You can make it
subjects.
formal. You could select formal as a tone to that chat.
You can select sarcastic,
You
humorous,
could.
informal. Really,
Yeah.
really cool stuff. I probably have used this more for fun than I have for productivity, but I can see the value in it. In fact, one of the things I run into is when I'm chatting is being super abbreviated and informal.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And not adding any flavor to that conversation.
Yeah.
So I need to kind of use that more to actually add to it, to be a little bit more considerate of the people I'm chatting with to add more flavor to that.
So here's a new one. Here's a new one for us all.
Tell me
Phone
more.
phone call. That's right. Phone call summaries. Phone call summaries as a part
Oh,
of AI Companion. Tell us about like what that looks like on
huge,
your client or
huge.
wherever you're taking your calls.
We brought it in. The number one feature, our totally informal but completely official poll. The Between Two Phones AI Companion polling that we did last year showed meeting summary, the number one feature.
Well, you're giving away the punchline of this one as well.
So what do? We take a meeting summary and we make it to a phone call. What? Say more, Eric. I'll tell you now. The ability to go, I've had a long conversation. Summarize this for me so I don't have to worry about taking notes as I go. I would love to say that all my conversations are one subject and short enough that I remember everything I committed to.
it's
However, with this
it's
now, I can get the opportunities to see that information. I love my meeting summaries. Love, love, love my meeting summaries. I'm going to trust my conversations more now that I'm getting a phone summary because now I can go back to that and go, okay, yep, let's look at this. It's going to be searchable inside of the email body. It's going to be able to, I can be able to see what's going on and know, oh, yeah, yep, we talked about this. I mentioned that. Yes, phenomenal tool.
absolutely. Uh, in you mentioned meetings, so I guess we know we're going for number one. But let's talk about the
Well, there's
top
one
three
more
here.
feature inside of
Top
phone.
three. We got top three here. We got three more. So, smart recordings. I love this feature because I am one that I want to just fast forward to the good parts
Yeah.
of a meeting. And a lot of times I can save some time by maybe getting the setup of the call out of the way and going straight to a topic that I'm interested in. And with smart recording with Meeting Coach now, not only am I able to chapterize those recordings, but I can also see it's the scoring associated with each one of the folks that are talking in that meeting as well.
Well, how much time have you spent going through a recording because you remember somebody mentioned a thing on a call? You can kind of place it. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. It was definitely that you go through your calendar, right? You're like, oh, that's right. It was
right.
this call. And they said a thing about that thing that it was really important, but of course I didn't write it down. I didn't. So instead of me going through the entire recording, I can now use smart recordings. It chapterizes it. Many times, the thing I'm curious about is actually part of the chapter summary, the initial labeling of that chapter, so that I can go through and go, oh, yep, it's right here. Now I don't have
Yep.
to look on 2x speed waiting for that subject come up. I can go right to it. That's a
Yep.
huge time saver.
Number two, meeting questions. Have you ever joined a meeting late and wanted to figure out what you missed?
No, I don't join meetings like at all.
It's never happened. That's
I
a
I have. So that's an enhancement of what we've had at the AI companion inside of meetings, right? That we get to see now going further. We're utilizing not just the artificial intelligence, but the large language model in order to incorporate that in there to go, okay, hey, here's some relevant information. We already got, was my name mentioned? That's a huge one. We already got a quick summary when you join. Now we can look at that and go even further to go, this is information that's specific that you should reply to.
yep.
Really, really big deal. Super excited about that one.
And
Super
we've
excited.
already referred to this one, but it should go without question here. Meeting summary as our number one.
So I want to know for everybody watching this at home or abroad, wherever you do, yeah. Uh, Meeting summary. If you're not, I got two questions. If you're not using it, what? Why not? And number two, what's your favorite part? And I'll follow on. Like, I would love to know what's your favorite part meeting summary because it's broken up into four different parts, but also how do you absorb it? So it comes, we can put it in a couple ways inside Team Chat or inside of an email. Uh, I actually kind of prefer it in my email because I put all of my meeting summaries in a single
Right.
folder. And I have a rule that automatically categorizes it. Bam, I throw it right into that folder. I search that folder by keyword. I'll search that folder by person. It's very, very convenient for me to be able to do that. I love my meeting summary. So I would love to know from our listeners, like A, why if you're not using it, why not? And B, how do you get that delivered to you?
Yeah. So, uh, one of the reasons that folks may not be using it, and I always like to remind everyone out there that this is enabled only by the administrator of the account. So
We have
what that means
controls.
is every account that we have out there is disabled unless somebody has enabled AI Companion to
True.
exist on that
As it
account.
should be, but it's important to note if you have an administrator that's like, I am not turning this on, this is going to, people don't trust AI. I think the overlords are coming, whatever. Okay. A, it was sci-fi for a reason. It's fiction. Let that go. Uh, B, you can enable it and then disable per user or per group. So you can create we can have multiple groups assigned to users now, right? So I can have like my executive group and then a secondary group that says AI disabled. So I can
Yeah.
turn on the features, get the benefit, but then also say for those people who do not want to have those features turned on, you can be part of that group that has it turned off. You can also do that per individual.
Yeah.
You can have it now. The only thing you can't do is if you have it turned off for the entire account, you cannot turn it on for an individual. So in order for anybody to have it, you have to enable it for the account. But you can immediately, once you enable it for the account, you can disable it for all users except for select ones. So
Yeah.
that those are functions we have inside the administration. If you're
Make
not doing
sure,
that,
yeah.
I would love to hear the argument behind it because we've addressed data sovereignty, we've addressed security controls, we've addressed feature enablement. Like we've
We've
really done
addressed
our due.
federation. You look at someone like Microsoft on their Copilot. They've relied primarily on GPT-4, Google on Gemini. But what do we do at Zoom?
Spread the love, baby.
We
Spread that love.
federate. We federate our AI. So
We
both
don't federate our
open
data, we
open
federate
source
the
and
tool
closed
set.
source advanced large language models we're using for that. You can read more about that on Zoom's website if you'd like to learn more about how we approach AI responsibly. With that, I think we spent enough time here on AI today, dude.
We did. And we'll probably talk more about it. There's really cool things to talk about. We got a lot of stuff coming up, man. It is a great time to be working for Zoom. I personally think it's a phenomenal company that's doing great things. Super exciting.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time on Between Two Phones.
Okay.